The Australian football landscape was shaken on the 8th of August, 2025. On this day, Football Australia's independent First Instance Board delivered a devastating verdict. It announced the immediate revocation of Western United's licence to compete in the A-Leagues. This decision was not made lightly. It came after a prolonged period of scrutiny into the club's financial health and operational stability. The ruling effectively ejects Western United from both the A-League men and A-League women competitions. This marks a dark chapter for a club that only joined the league in 2019 with great promise for the western suburbs of Melbourne, leaving its future hanging by the thinnest of threads. The decision was a culmination of failures to meet the essential criteria required to hold a professional football licence in Australia. The First Instance Board's assessment painted a picture of a club in deep distress, unable to guarantee its financial viability or adhere to fundamental governance standards. For a professional entity, these are not minor administrative hurdles. They are the bedrock of its existence. The immediate nature of the revocation underscored the severity of the situation, sending a clear message that the governing body would no longer tolerate such instability. It was a final, unavoidable consequence of a series of escalating problems that had plagued the organisation for months, if not years. This move represents one of the most significant club collapses in the history of the A-Leagues. Western United had been celebrated as a vital expansion team designed to tap into the passionate and diverse football communities in Melbourne's west. The club even recently completed its state-of-the-art training facilities at Ironbark Fields in Tarneit, a sign that seemed to point towards a more permanent and stable future. However, beneath this veneer of progress, a storm was brewing. The board's decision laid bare the harsh reality that modern facilities and community ambition mean very little without a sound financial and administrative foundation to support them. The shockwaves from this announcement were felt instantly across the sport. Fans, players, and staff were left in a state of disbelief and uncertainty. The club, once seen as a symbol of the A-League's growth and ambition, now stands as a cautionary tale. The revocation of its licence is not just a problem for Western United. It forces the entire Australian football community to confront difficult questions about the sustainability and management of its professional clubs. The dream of a thriving team for the West has, for now, been shattered by the stark realities of financial mismanagement and governance failure. The core of Western United's downfall lies in a catastrophic financial collapse. The club's books revealed a staggering $11 million loss for the 2023 to 2024 financial year alone, a figure that highlights an unsustainable operational model. This was not just a single bad year. It was part of a much larger pattern of financial instability. The club's total liabilities had ballooned to exceed its assets by more than $55 million, creating a massive hole that proved impossible to fill. Furthermore, Western United was burdened with over $16 million in outstanding debts owed to various creditors, including a significant amount to the Australian Tax Office, which has initiated a winding-up process in federal court. Making matters worse, the club failed in its most basic duty, paying its people. Throughout the 2024 to 2025 period, players and staff experienced repeated delays in receiving their wages and superannuation payments. This led to multiple breach notices being issued by the players' union, Professional Footballers Australia, as the club consistently failed to meet its contractual obligations. Such failures create an environment of extreme stress and uncertainty, undermining morale and turning a professional sporting club into an unstable workplace. It is a fundamental breach of trust that no sporting organisation can afford to commit if it wishes to retain its talent and its integrity. The club's problems were not confined to local shores. They had also attracted the attention of world football's governing body. FIFA imposed a transfer and registration ban on Western United, a severe penalty that will remain in place until at least January 2027. This sanction stemmed from an unresolved pay dispute with former marquee striker Aleksandar Prijovic, showcasing a failure to manage international player contracts and obligations properly. The ban crippled the club's ability to refresh its squad, a fact painfully illustrated when men's captain Ben Garuccio, despite signing a new contract in July 2025, was ineligible to play in the Australia Cup. These compounding issues created a perfect storm from which the club could not escape. The combination of massive operational losses, overwhelming debt, wage disputes, and a FIFA-imposed sanction demonstrated a complete breakdown in financial control and governance. It was this undeniable evidence of insolvency and non-compliance that left the first instance board with little choice but to revoke the licence. The club was no longer a going concern but a sinking ship, and the regulators were forced to act decisively to protect the integrity of the league and prevent further damage to the sport's reputation in Australia. In the immediate aftermath of the licence revocation, Western United's management declared its intention to fight back. The club was granted a 7-day window, starting from the 8th of August 2025, to formally appeal the First Instance Board's decision. This appeal represents the club's last hope, a final chance to present a case for its survival. The entire strategy hinges on a potential takeover by a new ownership group. In May 2025, the club had announced a pending sale to CAM Melbourne, a subsidiary of the US-based CAM Sports Group led by the Kaminsky family. This deal, however, is still awaiting the necessary regulatory approvals from the league and governing bodies. The success of any appeal is now intrinsically linked to the speed and viability of this takeover. The club's current leadership is betting that the promise of a significant capital injection from KM Sports will be enough to convince Football Australia to reverse its decision. They will need to demonstrate that the new owners have a credible long-term plan to clear the existing debts, stabilise the club's finances, and implement a robust governance structure. Without concrete proof that this sale is not just a possibility, but an imminent reality, the appeal is likely to be viewed as little more than a desperate last-ditch effort to delay the inevitable. If the appeal fails, the consequences for the A-Leagues are immediate and significant. The 2025 to 2026 A-League men's season, scheduled to kick off in late October, will proceed with only 12 teams instead of the planned 13. This contraction will force a major reshuffle of the season's fixture list and broadcast schedule, creating logistical headaches for the league operators. Similarly, the A-League women competition will be reduced from 12 to 11 teams, a setback for the growth and momentum that the women's game has been building in Australia. This is a difficult scenario for a league that has been focused on expansion. The fate of the players and staff hangs precariously in the balance. With over 100 jobs at risk, a failed appeal would trigger a mass exodus as contracted players become free agents and employees are made redundant. This would flood the market with unemployed professionals just as other clubs are finalising their squads for the upcoming season. It creates a deeply human cost, as families face uncertainty and careers are thrown into disarray. The dissolution of Western United would not just remove a name from the league table. It would dismantle a community of athletes and professionals who had dedicated themselves to building the club from the ground up. The collapse of Western United extends far beyond the boardroom and the balance sheet. It strikes at the very heart of the community it was created to serve. For thousands of fans and hundreds of grassroots clubs in Melbourne's Western Corridor, the club represented a local professional pathway and a source of immense pride. Its sudden demise has left supporters feeling, well, heartbroken and devastated. This was meant to be their team, a club that reflected the region's passion for football. Now that dream has been replaced by a sense of betrayal and abandonment, leaving a void that will be difficult to fill for a generation of young, aspiring footballers. A major casualty of this saga is the ambitious Wyndham Stadium project. The proposed 15,000-seat stadium in Tarneit was the centrepiece of the club's long-term vision, intended to be the heart of a 63-hectare sporting and community precinct. With the club's licence revoked, the future of this landmark development is now shrouded in uncertainty. While Wyndham City Council has reassured residents that ratepayers are financially protected because the land was never sold to the club, the partnership is under review. The promise of a dedicated, purpose-built football stadium for the West, a key part of the club's initial bid, now seems like a distant and perhaps unattainable mirage. This entire episode serves as a sobering wake-up call for the A-Leagues in Football Australia. Analysts are already warning that the Western United situation exposes deep structural weaknesses within the Australian professional football model. It raises critical questions about the vetting process for new expansion teams and the adequacy of ongoing financial oversight. The league's ambition for rapid growth appears to have outpaced its ability to ensure the sustainability of its clubs. This high-profile failure could deter future investors, who may now view the A-League as a high-risk environment with insufficient safeguards to protect their capital. Ultimately, the Western United drama is a cautionary tale about the perils of ambition without foundation. While expansion is crucial for the growth of football in Australia, it must be pursued responsibly and sustainably. The focus must shift towards ensuring that all clubs, new and old, are built on solid financial ground with strong, transparent governance. The heartbreak in Melbourne's West must lead to a period of deep introspection for the entire sport. If the right lessons are learned, this painful chapter could lead to a stronger, more resilient A-League. If not, it risks becoming a repeating cycle of boom and bust that will forever hold Australian football back.